The Great Jedi Purge almost instantaneously wiped out the entirety of the Jedi Order before ushering in a decades-long period of war between the remaining Jedi and the Galactic Empire. As the Empire hunted down the remaining Jedi in hiding, the survivors were forced to leave behind the life that they had once known and start anew, with many of them wondering where they had gone wrong. Many of these knights were left with regret and agony as they lived as hermits or lower-class workers. Meanwhile, Palpatine was able to exert his dominance over an entire galaxy, extending his rule as time went on, and becoming stronger with each passing day simply because he no longer faced the opposition of the light side order. Despite the end result, however, and the incredibly short amount of time that it took for Palpatine to eliminate most of the Jedi, this plan was years in the making and was almost uncovered numerous times. So how many people were exactly aware of the master plan of Order 66 to eradicate the Jedi, and who knew of the Order ahead of time? Who within the ranks of the Republic, or even the Separatists, knew that the clones were eventually going to be turned against the Knights of the Jedi Order, in order to make way for Palpatine's new empire? Well, today, students of the Force, let's cover some of the individuals, if not all of them, who knew that the Jedi Order was doomed and was facing extinction. But before we get started, it's important to clarify that we are not specifically talking about what Order 66 entailed. Order 66 was relatively common knowledge throughout the Republic, as the Jedi as well as the Senate alike knew that Order 66 existed and could be enacted at any given time, and the Jedi Order actually more or less agreed to the terms. But for a full breakdown of this explanation, we will be posting a video about what the Jedi believed the true intention of Order 66 was, and why they ultimately agreed to the terms. What was not common knowledge, however, was that it would be used en masse in order to eradicate the entire Order, or that there was a master plan to annihilate the Jedi at the end of the Clone Wars. So today, we will be exploring who knew or suspected that the Jedi Order was doomed to face extinction, though many of these individuals did not know the specific means by which the Jedi would be eradicated. Let's begin with the obvious choices, that being the puppet masters behind the plot to begin with, Palpatine and Dooku, the Separatist leadership who hatched the plan to begin with. While Palpatine constructed the plan and worked out the logistics of the operation, Dooku was the hands at the helm of crafting the necessary pieces to put the maneuver into effect. Though it was Palpatine's idea, Dooku selected a worthy clone template, created an army, and aided in the design of the inhibitor chips, and put the pieces in place for Palpatine when the time came, which would later be used against the Jedi Order as they faced their imminent destruction. It is also believed that Palpatine shared parts of this plan with his right-hand man and direct assistant, Mas Amedda, as well as other members of his inner political circle, including many of his other advisors. We know that Mas Amedda was soon after privy to the knowledge that Palpatine was in fact a Sith Lord, and Amedda's early corruption led to him becoming one of Palpatine's most trusted advisors and assistants early into his tenure as a politician. This not only means that Mas Amedda was one of Palpatine's earliest allies, but it also likely means that he was given the details of Order 66 before its execution. Also within Palpatine's inner circle was an Umbaran politician by the name of Sly Moore, who was also aware of Palpatine's dual identity as Galactic Chancellor as well as Sith Lord Darth Sidious. And in Legends continuity, Sly Moore had a much deeper connection with Palpatine than we see in the modern iteration of events. In the current Star Wars canon, it's unclear how large of a role Sly Moore played in the early formation of the Empire and the destabilization of the Republic. But in the extended material, she was not only trained by Palpatine in the ways of the dark side due to her latent force sensitivity, but the two even shared a romantic connection leading up until the dawn of the new empire. In Legends continuity, Palpatine had a son named Triclops, and it is widely believed that Moore was the mother of this child. While these are the most prominent Imperial sympathizers that had an idea regarding Order 66 and the destruction of the Jedi, there were several servants of the Republic who came very close and may have actually uncovered the true nature of Order 66. Perhaps the most prominent individual who had some sight into the nature of the inhibitor chips was Grandmaster Yoda himself, who knew more than he was letting on when the order was finally given. We know that Yoda received visions of the Order and the death of hundreds of Jedi from across the galaxy, but he was unable to act in time in order to stop this from commencing. While the Clone Wars animated series gives us insight into what exactly Yoda saw and knew, so does this tie-in novel titled Star Wars: Stories of the Light and Dark. The main reason why Yoda did not act to stop the Order was a combination of his own arrogance and his outright inability to do so. Yoda's hubris led him to believe that his vision was wrong and that he could trust the clones, whereas the depth of the conflict meant that he had no room to act without making things worse. Essentially, Yoda had no way of acting without tipping off Darth Sidious, and again, Yoda did not have the full details of Order 66, but he did know that something was coming. In addition to this, we also know that Yoda was not the only Force sensitive to foresee something terrible happening to the Jedi, and although he did not know all of the details, Darth Maul was convinced that the Order was doomed to face extinction mere hours before the Order was given, and it is believed that he was privy to some of Palpatine's plans, again though, not the grand picture. On Mandalore, Maul tried coaxing Ahsoka into joining him in order to stop Sidious, and though he did not know the specifics of how the Jedi would be destroyed, he was certain that their demise was an imminent one. Perhaps one of the most notable individuals to uncover this plot, however, was the fan-favorite clone trooper known as Fives. Fives, who embarked on a quest to find out the true nature of the inhibitor chips implanted within the entirety of the clone army. After his close friend and brother-in-arms Tup executed a Jedi Knight on the battlefield, Fives became very suspicious and began to uncover the conspiracy that several upper-level politicians were trying to cover up, led by Palpatine as well as his inner circle. Fives even figured out Palpatine's dual nature as a Sith, and figured out the true purpose behind Order 66, not only for him to be framed and executed before he could blow the whistle on the entire operation. Fives' findings, however, helped to warn two of his clone comrades about the inhibitor chips, the first of which being the commander of the 501st and close friend of General Skywalker, Commander Rex. Although Rex could not do anything in time to stop Order 66, he was able to help Ahsoka Tano not only escape the 501st Legion, but this insight gave her the necessary lead to remove the chip from Rex's own brain, freeing him from the control of the Empire and allowing the two of them to survive past the Great Jedi Purge. The second clone trooper was a longtime veteran by the name of Kix, who decided to continue Fives' work in uncovering this sinister plot. The story of Kix, however, is perhaps one of the most tragic in the Star Wars galaxy, as his intervention was discovered by Dooku, and he was placed in stasis chamber, where he would remain for several decades. This meant that Kix was in stasis and was absent for both the rise as well as the fall of the Empire, the prosperity of the New Republic, and even the initial days of the First Order, and Kix is known to be the last living clone trooper in Star Wars canon. In addition to this, we have the Kaminoan who was in charge of the creation of the clones by the name of Lama Su. Lama Su was not aware of the nature in which Order 66 would be used, however, he needed to be informed as he would be in charge of the creation of the inhibitor chips. Lama Su, however, had no knowledge of how this would be used on a mass scale, and believed that it would be served for the purpose of stopping rogue Jedi, something that we will be covering in a later video on why the Jedi agreed to Order 66. After Lama Su, we have Nala Se, who was also one of the primary antagonists in the first season of the Bad Batch. Nala Se needed to know this because she was one of the head scientists behind the clone troopers. She was also partially aware of its true nature, being corrupted by the Sith Lords before her, and being cold and callous about the clones' humanity. Nala Se is also the person that inevitably captured Fives and was part of his death. She served Palpatine and did not view the clone troopers as living people, but rather instruments in Palpatine's war. Therefore, she had no problem covering up Order 66 and also being a key in developing the inhibitor chips. But those were all of the people that we know had at least partial information or the full picture of Order 66, with it essentially only being Palpatine's inner circle and the Kaminoan scientists only having a very small picture, as well as of course Dooku. But anyway, students of the Force, what did you think about this? And what did you think about all of the people that knew about Order 66? And do you have any other topics about Order 66 you would like to see explored on the channel at a future date? As always, my friends, thank you so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.